What we talked about?
Homeostasis.
You knew that was the right answer no matter what, right? Homeostasis. Okay, so we are still talking about the chemistry of life. And we've been talking about how we've got our elements that are going to connect together basically to make everything. The way that those elements will connect and work is going to be based on their electrons. One of the ways that you're going to have to balance electrons in the body is going to be with hydrogen ions. Now, when we've got positives and we've got negatives and we're getting them into the body, well, that creates the situation of acids and bases. And we've probably all heard of these, the acids and the bases. When we think of an acid, we tend to think of something that is strong, going to burn us, that sort of thing. The same thing can happen with a base. A base can be strong enough that it will burn you. Now here's the difference. When we look at an acid versus a base, acids are going to give us what we call hydrogen ions. A base is going to give us what we call hydroxide ions. Negatives, positives. Each one of these will affect the pH of the systems of the body. Maintaining the correct pH is important because for proteins to work correctly, and let's go through this again, what is the only product that a cell can make? A protein. So therefore, for a protein to work correctly, we need to have the proper pH for that system. So acids and bases are going to end up being something that our body needs to deal with. Now, salts. This right here for our salts, remember, those are going to give us pluses and minuses, but these are ones that we call our electrolytes that we use for that electricity in the body. So when we get pluses and minuses, the body will have to buffer the systems. So a buffer is going to be something where if, for example, H pluses go up, it can buffer the system so that the pH does not get affected. So in our bodies, we're going to have these buffer systems. Under normal circumstances, usually they work great, all right? You might notice one of these systems, for example, the digestive system, all right? You eat something, just don't quite agree with you. No, it might have been really hot or spicy or something like that. And, ugh, okay? What do we normally do when that happens? We usually take something. We usually take something that we think of as an anti-acid. The pH of your stomach, the pH is roughly about 2. Now on the pH scale, let me think here for a second. High in hydrogen ions or not? Yes, we are very high in hydrogen ions, making that stomach acid very acidic. Now, it's trying to give you an idea of how products that we come into contact with, how they fall on the pH scale. For example, coffee. And I definitely need that shirt that says, give me coffee, you know, no one gets hurt, you know, that sort of thing, because I love my coffee, okay? But a lot of people, when we drink coffee, the stomach might get a little upset because the pH is kind of low on that. But look at, for example, something close to stomach acid, lemon juice, vinegar. Now this area right here, neutral, roughly the 7.45 for blood, okay, 7.35 to 7.45, okay, for the blood, all right. Notice that when we drink water, that's where we kind of want that to be. We don't really want something that's needed for the body upsetting that system. How do we keep that? I mean, like if I just drink the water from the sink right there, how do I know that hopefully that water is roughly pH of 7? It's a municipal system and they treat it. Otherwise, we don't know unless you have it tested. Just saying. Now look at some other stuff coming down this pH scale. We're getting bigger in the number. Stuff like sodium hydroxide, oven cleaner, ammonia. Here's the problem that we run into. If we have something that moves either up the scale into acidity, down the scale into base, okay, every time it goes a step down or a step up, okay, however you want to think about it in your head. If it gets more pH, if it gets more base, those ions, either the plus or the negative, increase by a factor of 10. It is a logarithmic scale. This is why a change in pH, if we had, now urine is about a pH of 6. On the pH scale, you think 7 to 6, not a big deal. It's just one step. Blood, 7.35 to 7.45, okay? Going from 7 to 6, you originally think, well, that's only one step. That's not bad. But you added times 10 the H plus ions. This could be detrimental. It could be deadly to the organism. So the body, since we're human and this is the organism that we're concerned about, the body is going to need to regulate pH. We're going to have what we call biological buffers, meaning the body is creating these. We have bicarbonate ions. Now, show you how old I am, okay? Like when I was growing up, that's what you took when your stomach hurt. A little powder in the water, and you drink it, okay? So I'm kind of showing my age there. We're going to have phosphates that can act as buffers. We're going to have proteins that can act as buffers. And then our respiratory system and our kidneys can get involved for maintaining the pH of the systems. It's important for us to have the buffers. For example, like I say, It's an increase tenfold. Either way you move, up or down that scale, okay? Let's say that we have water, just plain, hopefully pH neutral water. And we take acid and put acid into that water. Acids give off the H pluses, therefore making this solution more acidic. Without anything to buffer this, that water becomes acid. For example, acid rain into the natural environments, okay? What do you see that doing to life that exists in these areas hit really hard by acid rain? For example, the trees and the plants. They're dying, all right? You see them basically tearing apart those organisms. Think about if we didn't have the ability to do buffering in our body, that's the same thing that would be happening in the body. The buffers that we have, the proteins, the phosphates, the bicarbonates. Bicarbonates are big, okay? Because they're going to help to basically buffer the blood. That's really cool, okay? So if we have a buffer in the system, so let's look at the water. Water's our system. It contains buffers. We put the acid in it. What do you see the H plus doing?
Binding to the buffers?
Binding, combining, creating, mixing with the buffers. And that's going to create, or that's going to be how our body works to do this. And the blood is one of the major systems that we're going to need for buffering. We're going to need to make sure that we buffer that blood, because if the blood's not the correct pH, people are in trouble, big time. Now, as we think about other products in the body, everybody remember oxygen and CO2? Do you happen to remember the two processes that these function in?
Cellular respiration.
Cellular respiration.
And Krebs cycle.
Now, Krebs is part of the cellular respiration. There's another organism that carries out another process that's important and makes the oxygen. And let's think about photosynthesis. Okay? Photosynthesis. Think about this for a second. Photosynthesis. The waste is oxygen. What it needs is CO2, which is the waste of cellular respiration. Plants, animals. Which one is the higher organism? Which one?
They need each other.
People like to say, woo, humans. Highest organism, right? We can't survive without plants. We either eat plants directly, or we eat something that ate a plant. Think about that. Think about what's currently happening to all the plants on our planet. Just saying. Okay? So, oxygen, we need the oxygen in cellular respiration because